Does my warm-up allude to my goal? Hi, I'm Louise Fisher from OTGrow, and welcome to our warm-up series. So in this series, we're unpacking warm-ups and we're having a closer look at what makes a warm-up effective. Because at the end of the day, we really want to warm up our clients physically, emotionally, mentally, so that they can be fully engaged in our activity and post-activity discussion. And we spoke in our very first episode about riding the crest of that wave of momentum and drive and the clients having energy into the rest of the group. Because then we work far less and we can focus on really creating depth, and here and now and process illumination techniques can be applied with much more ease than when we are using so much energy to just engage our members to the group process. All right, so now we are at our fifth criteria, and the fifth criteria is, does the warm-up allude to the goal? So to be able to understand this, we need to take one step back. So when you are in your group program or your group process, you would have come out of yesterday's group and you would have realized these are the needs for my clients coming into the next group. Maybe they've told you, maybe it's come up in the post-activity discussion. And so you have an idea of what the goal for your next group is going to be. And in a later series, I'll take you step by step through how do I plan my group to have an effective group that is seen kind of as a whole, that hasn't had these bits and pieces that makes people confused, that each group member can understand, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve, and walk out of a group and say, did I achieve that? Do I think differently about stress? Or do I now know how to deal with my stress better? Or have I come to a place of self-forgiveness? So we start with a goal. Now, when you have a goal, you want to warm the clients up to be ready for the goal that you are going to introduce them to in the bridging phase. And so, without spending too much time explaining the whole process, it's just I want you to understand that depending on the goal you have, you need to bring that element into your warm up so that your clients can start preparing themselves of what is to come. So, if you are going to have your goal about building trust among group members, there needs to be an element of trust that is elicited already in your warm up. If your group goal is about working together as a team, you need to bring in that element of team building already in your warm up so that it's not an absolute kind of a deer in a headlight or cold water splash feeling for your clients. We're all doing all of this and it's so much fun and it's wonderful. And all of a sudden you're asking me, do I trust my group members? Like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, it feels almost, I'm totally not prepared to go there. So our warm-ups need to be clever, that it introduces our goals in a very light and fun way. Remember, we spoke about the spontaneity and the fun. We spoke about the cohesion. And this is often where we are challenged as group facilitators to think, okay, how do I bring all those elements in? But you can do it. I promise you, it just takes a little bit of time, especially in the beginning. Once you get into it and you maybe even bounce ideas off colleagues, you'll start seeing that your repertoire starts building. And the more your repertoire starts building, the more comfortable you become, the more you can take warm-ups that you find on the internet and tweak them specifically for your goal, to introduce the goal of where you are going with this. So to give you an example, we have an activity where we talk about fostering the group identity or building the group identity, and that is an activity where the group makes a poster about themselves. And so we want to bring that element in, and so we ask them to start making a machine in the warm-up. They have to make a machine with their own bodies, and we put the criteria in. It's a machine that doesn't exist. So remember, we're bringing in spontaneity. We're bringing in something other, something fun element. So we can think of an acceptance machine or a dream maker or time traveling. So we're bringing in that element of fun. We're bringing in, they have to talk to each other about how is this machine going to work. we say the criteria for the machine is that there has to be movement. The machine must be able to move, or everybody must move. And so we're bringing in our criteria for movement. Cohesion, because everybody's doing it together. And we are already working on the team, the machine, doing something together, fostering a bit of an identity or a group feel, which we are going to pull through to the group poster. What we've also found is when we ask people to identify a name and a slogan and all of that to really foster the group identity, when we have used the machine warm-up, it's often linked to what they had in their machine. And so it becomes easier for them to do the activity because they've already spontaneously decided on what the machine's name is going to be and what the machine does and how it gets done. And so it's easy to extrapolate that into how do we want to move further as a group. So can you see how we've put all the criteria together and we've alluded to what is to come? All right, so sometimes that's difficult to get all 5 criteria. And in our conclusion, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we can make some of the adjustments. For now, I'm going to invite you in this coming week when you are planning your warm-ups to try your best to see if you can meet all the criteria. And as I said, if you struggle, rather do one on cohesion and then try and put your other 4 criteria together. Okay, so you are going to try and design, adapt, tweak, use warm-ups. Maybe even in the bumper activity book, you see there's a warm-up and you realize, oh my goodness, there isn't an element of interaction or talking to each other. Try and see if you can challenge yourself to how you could incorporate or tweak that warm-up. So you are going to ask yourself for every warm-up that you bring in this coming week, you are going to ask yourself, do my group members have an opportunity to talk to each other? You're going to see if you can have an element of movement in it. You are going to see if there is a space for spontaneity and a little bit of silliness. You are going to try and build cohesion through your warm-up. And you are going to try and make a link to your goal that you have for each group. And sometimes this is the toughest one, because if I have a group on forgiveness, how do I bring in an element of unforgiveness? Or maybe there's a warm-up where I'm bringing in a bit of grace, or maybe there is a warm-up about generosity of spirit, or physical generosity. Can I incorporate a game where I write people's debts off? And so that alluding to something that is going to come. If I have a group on trust, maybe I want to have them trust each other in whatever, whether it's holding on to each other like the island warm-up, maybe it is something where I've got to lean into somebody, I've got to lean into the group holding my weight. So try and think of creative ways how I can take the goal I'm going to try and achieve and bring that into the warm-up. You're also going to see if you can do that the movement or the group progress from your warm-ups into your activity becomes actually quite seamless. All right, good luck with the challenge, and I'll see you in the next episode. In the meantime, happy facilitating.